Halloween night. There's a blood moon out in the sky. It's the most surreal sight I have ever witnessed. It influences the light. The whole sky has an eerie red skin. People have never been in such a mood, such a feeling for the season of the Hallows Eve. My parents don't want to deal with the constant banging on the door of kids looking for treats, so they set the bowl out, turn off the lights and let the TV play. Beyond the insanity of the news and the people swearing by the moon, they watch the scariest movies they can find. My brother and I wander the streets. I back him up as he collects the sweet pieces of candy from each house. Every little kid's costumes have something of a different feeling, reflecting the moon's bloody glow. Every house, every unique and similar doorbell, every type of candy sold in our local stores, all bunched up in my brother's bag. The moon, this year in particular, causes unconventional screaming and screeching from behind every hedge and across every street. Sometimes a wolf may howl to the crimson orb above, only to be non-existent when you turn to see it. My brother and I walk home as the rain begins, acting as blood from God pouring down on us, through our side gate and up into the safety of our treehouse. We snack down on all the sugar and spillage of sweet joys as I immerse the two of us in the world of Bram Stoker's Dracula. We laugh, we shiver, we shout and scare, all just to each other as we hide away from the horrors of the world outside the treehouse, where vampires live, the sky burns red and the wolves sniff out your every last step. The kind of cold and scary, yet small and cozy room of our treehouse lends us our haven for hours and hours. But it seems like the bloodied and gruesome moon wants to outlast us. It doesn't play by our time. It plays with it, remaining high up in the sky, moving around into different positions, but never over the horizon where the sun can claim back its land with glorious light. I suddenly open my eyes. My brother and I are still inside the treehouse, having fallen asleep under our blankets and garments we keep up there. My nose is runny and it's definitely not good to be sleeping outside. We should know by now, especially in a cold season like that of Hallows Eve. I shake my brother awake, releasing the clasp of sticky candy on our teeth to get us inside so we can get to bed properly. I wasn't sure. It must have only been a few minutes or maybe a few hours of sleep. It was still in the dead of night. I climb out of the treehouse with my brother perched on my back. I land in a blood-soaked grass, a heavy anchor for my passenger. The mush and squelching of the ground beneath me as I get to the eerie quietness of the house. Our parents must have gone to bed. If only. The hallway is ravaged and ruined. The blood scrawled across the wall. My brother is waking up. I quickly turn to let him down and tell him to cover his eyes, and I creak open the door into the living room. The TV's grey static glow illuminates my parents' disembowelment. I'm nearly certain I could see a mound of something in the middle of the floor. It was surely gore and mulch. I shut the door tightly, grasping the handle, and can't seem to shut my shut-open eyes. My innocent little brother tried to push past to see what movie was shining out from the room that my parents were watching, but I held him back. Mom and Dad fell asleep watching a movie. We shouldn't wake them. I whipped to the telephone, whose wire had been clawed. The corner of my eye alerts me to a scene outside of the window of my front door. I peek through, but I can't make anything out, so I open the door. The houses are gone entirely silent. Some lights in the houses are on, but I know for certain there's nobody left inside. At a single glance it would seem like a quiet night, but the longer I dart my gaze around, the more I find. The small trees outside the houses stripped of bark, the glistening lights illuminating the blood all over every surface from the blood moon's rain. But some reds are a deeper shade, a malicious and twisted deeper shade. At the same moment I can identify the blood, real blood, spanning out in all ways. A man, neighbour, comes from around the corner. Sean, the man from the cafe. He lived 2 doors down. He took in some packages for us on rainy days while we were away. His headless corpse stumbles a lifeless walk towards my ached breath that silently cried. His voice, I think it was supposed to be a groan, came out as a gurgle as his open neck bubbled out some gruesome death. My mind would have shut down, it was about to, but my brother was my compass. He became my rationale, but only I would realize too late, before I could remember to stop him from looking. He's able to make out his pale hand, even with his unique silver ring, and he calls out to Sean, and upon a further leaning he looks up to see no recognizable face. There is no head atop Sean's body, no ears for him to hear, nor mouth for him to respond. Just a gaping esophagus for his reanimated body to growl from. I have to slam the door closed and cover my brother's crying and screaming, and just when my brother's noise piped up, I heard movement upstairs. Someone, or something, was startled. I heard its footsteps start to move towards the top of the stairs, and then Sean's cold, stiff hand bangs on the front door window. I wrap my arm around my brother and lift him up as I sprint out of the house to the back garden. I turn the corner of the yard and find that there's something, an animal, a small rodent maybe, or what was once an animal, obliterated, decimated. It was sprawled across the walkway. Then, around the corner, Sean returns to scratch at the side gate to be let in. I turn around, but from inside the house I hear frustrated slams and bangs as something's prey, my brother and I, had gotten away too quickly. There's only one way left to go, up into the treehouse. I sweat out the last bit of energy as I sprint to the treehouse and up the ladder, tossing my brother in and following behind. He breathes a crying stress covered by my wrapping of blankets. I watch outside as something, a beast, leaves the back door in search of us. Its huge, furry mane outlines its head as its yellow eyes scan for us. It stood like a human, but acted as a wolf. The moon continued to glow red as I retreated back with my brother. We curled up in a ball, a tight spin of covers. Endless time passed, and endless time more. Somehow, through all the stress, I slept some, and he slept some. Hey. Hey. What? I think I heard Mom. No, please, you didn't hear Mom. He was going delirious. It must have been dehydration by now. But what is broken with the world? Why is the moon of blood still high in the sky, spinning like a cyclone? When is help arriving? When will the cold stop biting us? When will this nightmare end? The more we feel a little comfortable, the more we talk, the more our stomachs grumble from the starvation. My heart starts to sink. It keeps sinking. The beast heard us. At some point it did. It sniffs the base of the tree. It scratches and claws at the trunk. Whenever it does, we try to be extra quiet, but it knows something is up in this treehouse. I'm shivering and cradling myself. My teeth clatter and I don't want to open my eyes again this time after waking up. I just want to go back to sleep again. I want to sleep and sleep and sleep and hope that my brother goes before me so he could just get out of this hell sooner. Is this the sin that Jesus didn't die for? Is it revenge? Hate? Hate. The cold just gets worse. I reach to my brother to try and share any possible warmth, but he's not there. My eyes open immediately and look to see the absent side of the bundle. I turn to see him standing at the edge of the treehouse, looking out and leaning, nearly falling out. I try calling to him with a clattering, shaking, whispering yell, but he persists. I heard Mom. I sigh a small grief to myself, trying to use the exhale as warmth. Please, just get back here. Look, you're turning blue. He gets into the blankets, grumpy and claiming that nothing can ever be blue again when everything is still red. We can read Dracula. Do you think he'll get us? Dracula isn't real. He can't hurt us. He looks up into my eyes with uncertain and terrified tears. I meant Sean. The constant clicking of the closed lock on the side gate that my mind had blanked out is validating his question. From here, I don't know of a way out. Sean might tear us into shreds and kill us if he can get past that gate, and remembers how to climb remotely close to how he remembers to walk. No, Sean won't get us. We fell asleep to the book and to the comfort that Dracula and Sean weren't going to get us. I awake to find that my brother is gone again. Not in the bundle, not in the treehouse. I crawl my cracking bones to the edge of the treehouse and see him climbing down the ladder. Hey! I heard Mom. He didn't. There's no way my mother's voice still exists. I know what I saw in my living room. No, please. I plead with my brother, remembering that the hallucinations of my mother was the least of his worries, with that beast probably still being down there somewhere. I reached out, but the hunger and the cold and the redness of my world stopped me. I was a shell. My brother possessed more life than me to be able to get up and get down the treehouse like he did. But he couldn't be stopped. He ran and disappeared behind the wall to where the back door was. Then I hear the joy and excitement from his voice ring out. Mom! I was... Mom? I watch intensely at the turn of the wall where my brother disappeared behind. A jolt of shock pinches my whole body as I hear my brother start to scream and wail in agony. I can hear thumping and crunching. His voice is fluttering and splashing out blood that I can hear is flooding his mouth. In a crisis of horror, I backed myself away from the edge of the treehouse as I try covering my ears from the sound of my brother's relentless, struggling cries. His body doesn't know if it's supposed to be crying in pain or screaming for help or yelling for God, so it happens all at once. Every moment it's just a sound of screeching, and eventually his terror ends. I can hear the wet and chunky bits of my brother hit the ground like a mop. I'm in the furthest crevice of the treehouse, utterly cowering from what I witnessed, what I heard. My head and entire body is tucked in the bundle of blankets. It's not for warmth, it's to hide. My spine feels an unnatural chill. I miss him. I miss them. Ironically, I wish I was hallucinating. I hear the creak of wood. Someone is standing on the ladder. It takes every fiber of my being to peek up, and my brother's eyes are peering in at me. Hey. Can I come in? I found Mom.
Because you're there when I awake, and then you give me lights of day. Because the children with you can play. I think I am. 'Cause when I speak